Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Keith and I recently got into 3D printing and starting a 3D printed business. This is just my journey documenting kind of what I learned throughout the process. So that way, if you're looking into getting into 3D printing or the business side of things, you can kind of learn from my mistakes or take away what does work and apply that to your business as well. In this video, I'm going to update you guys on how sales have been going in Etsy and some things that I might take away and change the way things have been going over there, and just kind of an update of the space here. And we do have a package that I need to open. I'm pretty excited about that. Show you guys kind of what's been sent to me to try out, and then kind of what I've been learning with filament. I just got a shipment of filament from Polymaker, and I'm waiting on a much bigger order from Bamboo Lab, kind of what I've learned with that as well. So first things first, let's open up this package that I received and see what's in there. All right, I've had this for a couple days and been waiting to open it up in the video, but after I purchased the two filament dryers that I have, the Creality one and the Polymaker one, this company actually just happened to reach out right after I bought those and said, hey, we have some filament dryers. We'd like to send you one to try out and see if it's something that you would recommend to your community. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna unbox this and see what it's like, get it put together and try it out. All right, you can see here in the package, it is kind of a dark packaging with their label on it, but it is the Eibos, E-I-B-O-S, if I'm saying that right. It's their Polyphemus one, if I'm saying that right. So they have several different ones. I checked out their website before I said yes, just to make sure it was a legit company, because that's something that you do have to watch out for. But it does look like they have a bunch of different types of filament dryers, and I believe this one is a dual filament dryer, so definitely nice to have that, because I do need another one. Yeah, so if you could see that right there, that is the filament dryer. So it does have a separate base, kind of like the Polymaker one does, where it has all the information in the dryer here. And you can see it is set up for two. It looks like we do have to assemble the cage, a little bit more assembly required than the Creality or Polymaker one. So I'll work on getting that unboxed throughout the video, and then we'll get that set up and see how that works. But one other thing I wanted to bring up is, since I do a lot of microphone reviews on this channel, I am trying out a new one that I just bought because it was on sale recently, and that is the Hollyland Lark 2. This is something that I've been seeing a ton of videos on, the past year or so, and it's been very popular. And I've been hesitant just because I'm like, well, I don't know if I want the DJI Mini or, the Rode Mini one, but went ahead and went with this one because it was like $95 on sale. And so far, I've been using it on some other videos on my other channels and love it. The only thing that I don't like about this one compared to the one I had been using is there's no internal recording. So I do have to have it connected to either my iPhone or a camera and record directly into there. Whereas the Comica one I was using, even though that was a wired lapel mic, I was able to internally record into that, which made it a little bit easier. And you just had to sync everything in post with it, which isn't a big deal. But the fact that this one's wireless, I don't have to mess with any wires or anything. It's just looks like a little button that you can see on my chest here. Kind of doesn't stick out, and I don't have to worry about messing things right here. So I'm gonna try it out and see. So far, so good though. Definitely a good quality microphone. For the price point of under $100. Usually they're right around $119 or something usually, but with the spring sale, it was about $95. So we'll work on getting this guy set up, but these are the two other filament dryers that I've been using. Both of these, you really can't go wrong. I mean, obviously the Creality one, you are able to do two at once, whereas the Polymaker, it is still a little pricey for just one, but you are able to get multiple storage containers and just have these stored just by themselves without the dryer. So you can buy these separately for $30 and then maybe just have one or two of the actual dryers. But the Creality one so far has been good. I don't know if it's a big deal or not, but it doesn't seem like there's a great seal around here. Not that it's probably a big deal, but compared to this one, that there's a nice seal going around the edge and it really clamps down and seals everything in there. I feel like the sealant on this one's a little bit better, but either way, I've been kind of monitoring the moisture readings in here and they've been pretty consistent with each other. You get a little bit more information on the Creality one than you do on the Polymaker, but for just throwing a PLA in here or something to dry, there's different options that you can select depending on your filament. And so far, so good with both of these. So I'm interested to see how this one stands up, because this is more expensive than these two. So another thing I've been debating about putting on Etsy is little trinkets like this. This isn't, I'm not gonna really sell these by themselves. I'll show you what I'm gonna kind of sell this as a set. But one thing I've learned about these is if you're a small 3D 3D print business like me and only have 2 printers, printing something like this takes a long time. There's only 12 of these articulated raccoons and it took 19 hours. And this is the only one that I have multicolor on. So it took up almost a whole day just to do 12 of those, which if I need to print off a lot of stuff, especially multicolor, I gotta wait until this finishes. So I'm not sure, you know, if you only have 1 or 2 printers, if this is something that you should start selling right away, or if you do have the time and aren't worried about doing a bunch of other things at the same time, maybe go that route. But you definitely need a lot more printers, which is probably why you see people with those giant print farms printing stuff off like these. They have totes and totes of these that they printed off, but it is a dedicated thing, usually about 24 hours to fill the whole plate, if not more. And then that printer is just doing that. So if you only have 1 or 2 printers, just be aware of that. Printing stuff off like this, especially with the multicolor and the amount of color changes, takes a long time. So this is a model that I've been thinking about selling on Etsy. I've made one for my wife, kind of like a Zen garden thing with a tray and some sand, but I'm thinking about just selling the actual dumpster fire thing by itself as a model. So I'm thinking maybe like 3 raccoons, you get the dumpster fire, and there's a tea candle in there to give off the effect of a fire, and then with a trash can, maybe a trash bag or 2, and then some banana peels, and then like sell this as a set for like, I don't know, 20 or 30 bucks, just because there are a lot of different prints that you have to do. So it does take time, especially these darn little raccoons, but definitely something I need to actually post up. I did custom one of these for one of her friends at work and they loved it. And so definitely think it's something I might add to the Etsy store. Kind of cool. I've seen other people that have these dumpster fires, but their dumpsters and raccoons are a little bit different. I definitely like the looks of these ones. So thinking about taking some pictures of these and just posting it up and see how it does. All right, so when it comes to the filament side of things, when you're running a business, refilling that filament, you need to think about and plan for. I've been recently starting to order more from Polymaker and Bamboo Lab. I do have a local micro center that sells inland. I've used a lot of that, but I'm starting to like the quality of the Polymaker and Bamboo Lab stuff a little bit more. Where I'm in a pinch and need something really quick, I can run to Micro Center and grab an inland. That's not a big deal, but starting to like the quality of the other 2 over the inland. But again, nothing wrong with the inland. I still have plenty of that stuff. I'm just finding it a little bit easier to work with the Polymaker and Bamboo Lab stuff, especially with the amount of different choices that you get with those 2 brands. But if you are ordering through Bamboo Lab, just know that shipping does take quite a while. They do say about 5 to 8 business days, and it does take every bit of that, if not more. I've noticed some stuff comes in from other parts of the US, and you might not get everything all at once. It might come in different packages at different time. So if you are noticing that, hey, I might need to refill some of this soon, go ahead and order that as soon as possible, because by the time you need it, hopefully it'll arrive by that time and you're not sitting there waiting to print off stuff that you need to sell while waiting for that shipping. Now, Polymaker's been a lot faster as far as shipping goes. Usually within 3, maybe 4 days at the most, I get the Polymaker stuff. While they're more expensive, they do show up a lot quicker than the Bamboo Lab. So if you're getting new into 3D printing, especially for a business, just keep that in mind, that you need to kind of plan for the restock and stuff and waiting for that shipping. Now, the other thing I've learned as far as filaments is the spools between, Bamboo Labs. It's nice having their refillable ones. And the cardboard ones aren't an issue for me because I have the AMS light, so I don't have to worry about, the AMS system getting clogged up. But one thing that I really like about the cardboard ones, even though they're not refillable, is they always have what it is labeled on here. So I don't have to guess what this is. I can just pick it up, look at it, and I'm like, okay, so this is PLA Galaxy Black from Polymaker. Bam, that's all I need to know, and put it in depending on what I'm using it for. With the Bamboo Lab, if you have a lot of this, especially the same color, but it might be different types of filaments, you probably don't know unless you've actually kept it in the box or written on it. The only thing that you can really tell is it has the PLA basic. So whether it's basic, silk, or matte, it'll kind of tell you that. But what I ran into is I have several different just regular PLA blacks on here, and then I had some matte, and I couldn't figure out which one was which without having to put it in the AMS, load it up, and see what comes up on the screen. So what I've started doing with the Bamboo Lab stuff, especially if I have a lot of the same color and I want to keep track of what it is, the refills come with these stickers that I'll put on here and kind of actually write down what it is, so that way I know. And I wish there was a little bit more room on these things to actually label those, but they do have a lot of these holes here that kind of prevent you from doing that. But there's enough room on the stickers that they provide in the refills to actually write at least the color. And then I try and match up. If I have PLA basic, I'm gonna keep that kind of filament on here, and then a matte and the Silk Plus that they have on here, I try and keep those matched up so that way I don't get them confused. But that is the one thing I prefer the cardboard ones over, is it gives you all the information about the actual filament that is on that spool, whereas Bambu Lab, sometimes it leaves you guessing. But again, having the ability to reuse these is nice. It keeps the cost down, especially if you are ordering from Bambu Lab. It seems like more of their refills seem to be in stock more than their actual full spools. That's another thing with Bambu Lab, is a lot of their stuff goes in and out of stock a lot. So definitely keep your spools and reuse those. And it is actually cheaper to order them as a refill. At least try and order 4 or more of the same type of filament from Bambu Lab. That way you're getting that bulk discount. So as long as you're buying 4 or more of their basic PLA or 4 more of their Silk Plus, you get that bulk discount. And if you do the refills only, it's definitely a lot cheaper than buying the full spools. So keep that in mind. It is definitely cheaper to buy in bulk from Bambu Lab. And from my last video, I definitely got this room a lot more set up to where it's easier to work in here and do everything that I need to do. So I'm going to kind of show you some of the stuff, how I have it set up. It's still a work in progress, just like anything, but where I have it now, it's definitely easier to work in here. I don't have to go back and forth between offices to send prints and everything like that. I got a full computer and screen set up in here to where I can just solely work in here. So I'll go ahead and show you how I have everything set up in here right now. So you saw me set up this desk in the last video. Nothing's really changed with this setup. I definitely love having this L-shaped desk. There's a lot of room, even with the printer over here. Now, when it is going, it does vibrate. On the actual table, you don't feel a whole lot of vibrations. It's not a big deal. The screen, since it is mounted to the table using the monitor arm, it does shake a little bit, but nothing that you can't deal with. So it has still been a sturdy desk with a lot of room and space to work with. I still have the shipping station over here where I'm able to weigh and print out the labels and everything. So that's been nice and handy to have right there. And then this thing is new. This is a shelf I just got off of Amazon to kind of hold not only my inventory that's down there, but also some test prints that I've been doing, whether for myself or seeing if it's stuff that I want to sell for the business. Just kind of nice having those displayed right there and easy access. And then the other new thing since that last video is this desk right here. This is a Flexi Spot desk. It is their E8 desk. This thing has been really nice. It was super easy to put together. It took like less than 30 minutes, and it has definitely been nice because it does raise and lower. So if I want to work on a project and stand over here, I can, or if I want to sit down and film just like I have been, I can do that. So you can see it is strong enough to hold both this Elgato light and my camera at the same time, yet still have the full printer and AMS system, and still have a little bit of work area right here, and also have the 2 filament dryers. So, and even when this thing is going at full speed, it still handles the vibrations well. So I'm still able to work on other projects over here while this is still running. Not a big deal as far as the vibrations go. So the E8 desk from Flexi Spot has been nice to have. So shout out to them and Uplift Desk for helping me get this area set up. It has definitely been a game changer. And then still have the filaments over here, which I'm getting really full. And by the time I get this next shipment in from Bambu Lab, we might be putting stuff more stacked up over here, but that's okay. Yeah, the room is definitely coming along. I need to put some stuff up on the walls to help kind of reduce some of this echo, but definitely a much easier and better workspace to be a little bit more productive in here. All right, so let's take a look at the Etsy shop and see where we are stat-wise. You can see since I started this shop in February, I've had only about 10 orders, which isn't bad given the amount of listings I have. I don't have a whole lot of listings that I'll show you. So 10 orders is pretty good, especially for a new shop that isn't well known or probably being pushed a lot. So 10 orders has been pretty good, I think, since I've had this opened in February, sometime I think probably mid to the end of February. Let's go to the listings really quick, and you can see my listings here. And I don't have a whole lot, as you can see, so I only have about 18 that are active, but with only 18 active listings, and not all of these I have running ads on, 10 sales isn't bad. And the one good thing about Etsy is you are able to see a lot of different stats and everything. So far, say for this month, even though we're 5 days in to April, I've had about 1 sale, which is pretty good. I have had several that have come in like the same day or like 2 days in a row, and then nothing will come in for a little while, and then I'll get a random order. So it's been kind of all over the place as far as timing when they come in. And then the one thing about this is if you are trying to start an Etsy shop, it is definitely not something you're going to get rich quick on, especially as a small business, kind of like I'm running right here. So with only 18 listings and 10 orders so far, definitely not a get rich quick thing. So let's go ahead and take a quick look here at what I've made so far. So even though it says $150 in revenue, I have yet to see anything as far as a payment from Etsy yet. What will happen is when you are running ads and there are other fees that they charge you, instead of actually charging your credit card or something that is a link to this file, they'll just pull from that revenue that you've acquired. So if we go to the payment account here, you'll see that I have nothing due that I owe Etsy or anything like that, but I don't have anything available for them to send me. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to all this here, and we can kind of see. So total sales, about $195 in total sales. But then once you add their fees that they charge, their marketing, and then shipping, I'm really looking at about a net profit of about $63 this year. But again, I still haven't seen any of that money deposited into my account yet. But I guess the good thing about that is any fees and stuff, marketing, they just kind of pull from that. So you don't have to worry about them taking that out of like your banking account or anything. But it does make it hard when you're only at about 10 sales or just making a little bit here and there. When you're running the marketing, sometimes the marketing could be more than what you're actually bringing in as far as net profit goes. So definitely keep track of your marketing if you are doing that. $1 or $2 a day probably won't get you enough traction. I've had everything set at about $5 a day, and that seems to be a good spot because it's not so expensive to where I'm losing money, but it's just something that you'll have to play around with and kind of determine what ads that you want to run them on. And you can go down here to marketing, up to Etsy ads, and kind of see how they're performing. So I'm going to go ahead and go through this entire year. You can see just through the ads, we've had about 13,000 views and about 178 clicks and only 4 orders through the ads. So if you look at it this way, I've actually spent more on ads than I have gotten revenue from the ads, but through other sales and everything, it kind of makes up for that. So you can see I have about 13 listings at $5 a day. Now it's not guaranteed that they're going to charge you $5 a day. They really don't charge you until somebody clicks on that ad. And then down here, it'll have all your different ads, and you can select if you want to run ads on that or not. So if you're seeing one that you're spending a lot of money on ads, but it's not bringing in any sales, you can turn that off, or you can reduce the amount that you're actually spending on marketing for that. I'm just gonna kind of leave everything as it is. Again, this is a new shop, so I want to get as much attraction as I can. I'm definitely going to add more stuff in here. From what I've seen from other people, the more items that you have listed, the more chance that you have of your shop doing well. And then coming back to the payment account, just to kind of show you what fees and stuff they charge. So when you get an order, it'll show here, hey, this is the total order or payment that you received. This includes what the buyer was charged for not only the product, but then sales tax and shipping. And then you'll see some fees that it takes out. So it'll take out a processing fee for them running the credit card and stuff. And then it'll also take out the tax that was paid by the buyer. And then it'll also take out the shipping fee. Whatever marketing fees you get for that, you'll see that since they clicked on the ad for that one, it took out about 39 cents for them clicking on there. So now you can get a lot more into the weeds with that, which we may later on, but definitely don't want to do that in this video. But that's kind of just an overall view of kind of what you can expect as a small shop with not a whole lot of orders. All right, so we got the filament dryer put together. As you can see here, went together really easy, no problems at all. Instructions are very simple to follow and everything's included. And they did send me the expansion pack, which is right here. So that way you have more volume for the bigger filament rolls. So since they included it, I went ahead and installed that on here. It is definitely bigger than the Creality one. This is definitely a box area. It definitely seems like it's going to seal well. And go ahead and take this paper off of there and get it turned on. And you can see on display, just like the Creality one, it has quite a bit of information, pretty much everything you need. And then basically you just cycle through here to select your types of filament that you have, the temperature settings that you want and everything. And you can go between Celsius and Fahrenheit. So definitely pretty cool. And what I like about this is it does have the option to run, through the tubes directly to your printer. I typically don't use that. I usually just as the filament dryers, and then I throw everything on the AMS system. So what I like about this is it does include plugs that they sent. So that way you can plug those holes when you're not running the tubes through there to really keep the chamber sealed up. Really excited to see how this works. I don't see any issues that can come up. It does come with some spare parts, which is nice to have. To load up the filament, you just take this off, put the filament in here, and then you just put this whole thing back on there, set it up to how you want to dry it, and just hit go. And here's just so you can see the size difference between all three of these. This is definitely the largest of them, but it does have, with that expansion pack, the ability to hold bigger size filament rolls. So I think we're gonna wrap it up for the video for this portion. I'm about to run out of battery on my camera, so definitely a fun adventure getting into 3D printing. I didn't know how I would like it, but it's definitely been fun, especially since you can turn it into a business and really do a lot with it. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. If you like this video and want to follow my journey, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. It's totally free for you. And if you do have any tips for people like myself that are new and see anything that we're doing wrong or have things that have worked well for you that maybe we can apply, let us know down in that comment section as well. If you want to see more on my journey up to this point, go ahead and check out these videos right here.